Do you love me or do you hate me? This has been my life. I don't know what I have. And I'm wondering, I want to connect with people like me. I have had in my life people that don't really know me either really like me or really hate me. Either somebody will bump into me and be like, I have such a good vibe about you, or complete opposite of like they have this really negative thing about me. They get really like, and it's like super extreme. And those two people don't get each other. Like they don't understand. And I have literally had people in front of me have heated discussions of my energy. And this person's defending me like, you don't even know her. What are you saying? And this person doesn't even really know me. And this person's like, you don't feel that? You don't see. You don't see the manipulative something. I could feel it. There's something wrong with Tanya. And here I've been throughout most of my life, pretty much all my life, in the middle of this heated debate of who I am. And for those wondering, this is why I dove in to the concept of self-projection. Like every video I make, I wrote 2 books, a book for children, a book for adults. The reason that this whole philosophy of psychological projection has overtaken my life because it is the only thing that has brought me inner peace. Because I am not that person that walks into a room and people gravitate towards me. It's like I walk into a room, there's 100 people, 50 people will be like, oh, and 50 people will be like, ugh. And I used to own that. You know the movie Pretty Woman? She's like, the hard things are always easier to believe. When I saw that, boy, did I resonate with that line, because I always believed the negative things that people thought about me, the assumptions, the judgments, the opinions that people had. They met me and they're like, oh, you have this evil thing or you have this negative thing. And I took that and I thought something was wrong with me throughout most of my life. My whole identity became about fixing and changing myself. And I am so grateful that I met a psychologist in my 20s that said, you don't have to fix yourself, you have to love yourself. And she taught me about shadow work. Because if it wasn't for her, I would have went down a rabbit hole of completely hating myself for most of my life because the hard things are easier to believe. So when she started teaching me about shadow work, I found the concept of self-projection through Deepak Chopra's book, The Shadow Effect. And then I found out that this is a theory that's been going on. Psychological projection is like 100 years. Like Carl Jung talked about it. And I was like, what we see in others is a projection of what's happening inside of us. And I was triggered at first when I heard about this, but I was like, oh my God, when I fully understand, not just like, oh, whatever, I fully grasped what it meant, that's when I became free. Because I realized that when I walk into a room and 50% of people will like me and 50% will hate me, none of it has anything to do with me, the positive or the negative, because these people have no idea who I am. Even my family and friends. Like they know certain things about me, but if I have a group of like 10 friends, when I ask my friends how they feel about me, like separately, they each have different things. If I say one thing negative, one thing positive, they will each have different things because it's not about me. It's the perception that they see. It's like what they believe about me is not necessarily about me. I could have aspects of that, but it's all nuanced. It's just a perception. But the true me is like, I have so much potential. Moment to moment, I could be sad one time, I could be happy, I could be a great listener, but I could also talk a lot. Like everything is just, and it could change at any moment. So here's my theory. I believe there's 2 reasons why people get very triggered and upset at the concept of self-projection. It's either they don't understand it because they think that by taking responsibility for their feelings means anybody could treat them any type of way, which is not that at all. Because if we take responsibility for our feelings and our actions, then other people have to take responsibility for their feelings and their actions. We don't have to own it. It's actually setting boundaries. It's empowering ourselves. So I think some people get that confused, and they get confused facts versus self-projection. Like if I see a tree, it's a tree. How I feel about that tree will be different for everyone. So I think that people that don't understand it will get very triggered and be like, and the other people that get triggered are the ones that are constantly criticizing people. Like they'll walk into a room and they claim to like either be an empath or they can read people, and they feel all this negativity and stuff like that. I just tell those people, imagine if somebody said that about you, that you're in a room. Maybe you're having a bad day. Maybe you got some bad news, whatever it was. And maybe you are feeling a little negative and your face is kind of like whatever. Somebody walks into a room and completely just criticizes and judges you and makes assumptions that you're this negative person with negative energy. Meanwhile, you're just living your life. I was that person. Do you know how crappy that feels? And then when I tell the person, hey, that's not my energy. That's your own energy. And the person's like, how dare you? How dare you? You They don't see the irony. What about intuition, Tanya? If I walk into a room and I get a vibe that I need to stay away from someone, I tell people to stay away. I get those vibes too. I walk into rooms sometimes and I just go, ooh, like I'm not meant to go around that person. I know that I'm going to follow that intuition. I'm going to go somewhere else. When my brain starts finding out why, that's my brain working. That's a self-projection. If I go, oh, maybe because they're negative, because that is total assumption on my part. Intuition should always be followed. If you are not meant to be in a person's life, you are not meant to be in their life. It doesn't matter why. Just stay away. I'm making this video, and I'm going to keep making these videos to bring awareness to this concept because it is not talked about enough. And some people tell me, well, Tanya, your videos are going to trigger people because people are not ready for this. They're not ready to own it. It's so easy to like blame everybody else for how we feel. Yes, but when you're on the receiving end of the criticisms and the judgments, it feels like shit. I used to walk out of my house and everybody's opinions of me mattered more than the opinion that I had of myself. I took on other people's opinions of me and it crushed my soul. I didn't even want to leave my house. I couldn't leave my house because everybody's energy, everybody's feelings, everything was stronger than mine. And when I found out about self-projection, I realized that I could walk into a room and show compassion to people. Maybe I feel that they're negative, maybe I'm feeling negative, and self-reflect. It made my relationships better, the relationship I have with myself, the relationship I have with others, and it helped me not take everything so personal. My book is the only one that I know of that has A to Z on self-projection and how to heal and all of that, but there are a lot of other books out there that you can find. And yes, I still self-project all kinds. When I walk into a room and I see the beauty in people, it could be that I'm feeling good about myself. If I walk in and I'm criticizing people, it could be that I'm criticizing myself. It's never about being perfect, it's about being aware.